you find this?
Hi everyone, it's Killshot99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead, and we're going to talk about the finale. Here's Negan. Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. This was really, I think the episode that we all needed to get a little bit of closure and transition. No more feel sorry for Negan. I think he's faced his final demon. So, we're going to talk about that tonight. Look, I know a lot of you guys have watched Fear the Walking Dead. We're not here to talk about Fear the Walking Dead. We know it's good. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about that next week. But with all due respect, let's really jump into it and talk about tonight's episode. And I think why we needed it. One, look, let's be completely honest here. The Walking Dead, the last 5 episodes have not been what we expected. Whatever challenges, whether they're COVID challenges, filming challenges, but this was it. This was his backstory. It was who he is. We've always heard, like, well, how would we feel about Negan if we saw the world through Negan? I think they did a great job of doing that. They kind of showed the backstory, what happened. They didn't make him a saint. I mean, you know, he did things that he shouldn't have done, and he had to deal with that. But here's the way I look at it: is number one, if his wife forgave him, then he's okay with it. You know, they were at a good place. Come on, Moonshot 6.5. You know what? I'm gonna shut that shit down. No exceptions. There is no way tonight was a 6.5. Tonight was absolutely 9.3, baby. 9.3. It was really good. You didn't have to agree with everything that happened in order to love it, but there was no way this was a low-scoring episode. So let me go ahead. I'm going to throw the numbers out there. First of all, let's get it started. Let me ask you guys right now. Give me your number. Give me your number of tonight's episode. Look at all the high numbers coming in. I absolutely loved it. One of my favorite episodes in a long time. Actually, not just one of my favorite episodes from the last season or so. Probably one of my favorite that I've seen with Walking Dead. Because it really it sets the table. And the one thing that I really liked about it was how he strolled back into Alexandria, saying, I did what I did. I can't take it back, but I'm going to live here, and you're going to kill me. The exile did not work. But certainly, I think all of the things that happened tonight, we've kind of been on top of this for a little while, right? You know, we've talked about we would see the world through Negan. We would need to kind of get that as a little bit of closure. We talked about Maggie coming back and the banishment, the two not being able to coexist. We saw that. What we didn't really see coming is the fact that he basically came back in. What I liked about it is he's just had this this guilt ever since she's been back. And you'd probably say, well, he deserves to be guilty because of what he did to Glenn. And I would agree with you. But something had to happen to where he can live with himself. So he went out, he faced his demons, he came back, and he's just got a look on his face now of, what are you going to do to me? You can't do anything to me that has not already happened to me. And that, honestly, is what I needed from Negan's character. This to me was the not the icing on the cake. This was the cherry on top of the icing on the cake. I'm going to open it up and read a couple of your comments here. We got Ocean Man. Love that he came back to face her. Absolutely, Ocean Man. Movie star. I'd like to see Negan's take over the Savior and explanations. You know, movie star, I think that they certainly set it up for a spinoff. Would you guys agree with that? That we're set up pretty nicely, I think, for the Carol and Daryl Takeoff spinoff. We saw a couple of the previews of what's going to happen next year, a little bit of the hint. I guess with Commonwealth, it looks like an interview process. And then I got to, I'm going to make another bold prediction. Okay? And I never thought I would say it like this, but I'm going to ask you guys, based on what you saw tonight, and they don't do these things for no reason. A lot of times we look at something and we say, okay, well, it's just for closure. I don't think so. I think that they set Negan up to be a bad, bad dude in the future. I think he's going to need to be. And I think that walk back is basically like, look, I'm not going to go kill a bunch of people that don't need it, maybe like he did before. He saw red and he couldn't control it. But now I think that you're going to get a Negan that wants to have a group. And I think you're going to get kind of like a vigilante type of Negan. I don't think you're going to get Negan and Maggie together in any regard, Jesus. Not in a whatever you're hinting toward. That ain't going to happen. And I don't even think they're going to be any type of partners. But I do think that now that we've seen a little different side of it, I think Negan's going to be able to sort of tone it down a little bit and protect the group. See, because, look, he was wrong with the way he handled Glenn. No doubt about that. But then, that was kind of like the worst of Negan. And then he's gotten like less and less and less and less. But even with Alpha, he was still on the fence and he wasn't able to see what was opportunity and what he should do. So I think you're going to get all that ferocity and you're going to get a little bit more control where he's going to learn not to see red all the time. But certainly, I don't think you're going to want to cross him. I do think for me tonight tells me that there's a lot of Negan story left. Now, I'm not going to say that they couldn't have him die in some manner, but I do think a spinoff looks a little bit more likely. A spinoff with a little bit of the I do think there's an appetite that people want to see how he went about recruiting the Saviors and what went wrong with that. It's great. Great stuff, though. Great stuff. We'll get a couple more comments in here. And by spinoff, look, I don't mean like a 2-year show. I mean like maybe a mini-series. Not a spinoff, I guess. A mini-series. I think that's a good point, B-Dub, is certainly symbolic, right? He apologized to Lucille for running off, and he's refusing to run from Alexandria. And we do know that I'm just a little, I guess I'm a little concerned that Alexandria is getting complacent again. So, Maggie's there with little Herschel, and, Carol's making soup, but, I mean, they just dealt with some stuff. They dealt with some stuff out in the woods, and we know that there's another enemy out there. So, I think Negan will get opportunity. What's up, Ekum? Good to see you again, my man. I think Negan lives. Rick and Carl both want him to. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Ekum, is now, if he does die at some point, he's going to die a hero. And I don't know that we needed that, but it's certainly kind of, it's kind of cool to see the show letting him be himself. I was waiting for something. I mean, I embraced it when he was a bad guy. I didn't like him. I mean, I certainly didn't like Negan when he was, beating people down. And you can say justified, not justified. They killed people in their sleep. I get it. I understand. I understand all of the nuances to that. But even still, he's been a little watered down since Rick locked him up. And even with Alpha, it's almost like he acts when he's in a corner. He's got his back against the wall, and then he has to do the right thing. And there's just something about, and if you only watched it once, just go back and just watch how he walks into Alexandria. It's a different mindset, and I think B-Dub hit the nail on the head earlier, where he said, "I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep doing the fighting for you," and I think also, look at the realization. Not only did he burn the bat, but when he said, "I'm sorry for naming a baseball bat after you." I mean, like, it's like almost like everything. He had this moment of clarity, like a vision quest. I think Carol probably put something in the logs, so he would inhale it, and then, he had like a vision quest where he was seeing it, and now it's going to drive him forward. Kitten, I don't think Lucille, his wife, meant for him to bash heads with a bat and control people. Wonder why he turned that way. Well, Kitten, I think that he hated the world, right? And they walked through this whole consequence, butterfly effect, domino effect, whatever you want to call it. So let's kind of backtrack a little bit and think of how fragile and how connected our lives are. So he's there with his wife, and all they want to do is enjoy a moment. Listen to a song. This is why there's no way you can give this episode below an 8. If you do, I want to have a conversation with you on the side, because I'm going to tell you why this was good. And on the flip side, as bad as all the symbolism was last week with the rat and the soup and all of that, I get what they were trying to do. It just wasn't done very well. Okay? But tonight was all the good stuff they tried to do last week, they did it this week. So you start with something simple, like trying to enjoy a quiet dinner, listening to your favorite song. And some jackass just won't shut up. Okay, give me a quick 999 if you guys have all been somewhere, or you've been in a movie theater and you're there with people and you're trying to keep your cool and you're trying to enjoy yourself, and some person just won't shut the hell up. I mean, have you been there? Let me know, because I think we've all been in that situation. And sometimes you hope it'll go away, and you don't want to cause a scene, you don't want to do anything. Well, he was trying to be that. He was just trying to keep the peace, not cause any problem, and she got up and said, "Look, excuse me, sir, we're just trying to enjoy a little music. Would you mind, keeping it down so we can hear the song?" And this dude acted out. He didn't want to hear it. He wasn't like, "I'm sorry, hey, I can keep it down, enjoy your dinner." No. He wanted to be an ass. So Negan had to beat him down. Now, and Kitten, I'm kind of giving a long answer, I guess, to your question. So then we find out, like, he is someone who, when he loses it, right? And we saw Lucille on the phone earlier, and she's like, "Hey, the guy had it coming. So we got all these little Easter eggs along the way, trying to, like, who had it coming? What's going on? What's the deal? So one person is saying that your husband shouldn't have done that, that's why he's unemployed. And then she's saying, well, dude had it coming. So he took it a little bit too far. Now, after he beat the guy half to death, he took out his wallet, he took his money, and said, you just lay there and bleed. I'm going to go back and play the song. And that is where we really have the birth of Negan. That's where we find out what he is capable of. It's one thing to beat someone up. It's another thing to get in a fight, leave. But what he did is typical. And I know some of you are saying, like, all right, he deserved it, he deserved it. But that's exactly what Negan did, which made him cross the line sometime with Rick's group. He tried to be funny. He tried to be cute. He wanted to take people's stuff, but he would just get into a point where he would get to a point of no return. So taking out that $1 is probably like the first sign. He's like, not only did I play the song once, I played it twice. And you know why he played it twice? Probably so that man who was laying there bleeding could hear the song and be tortured. Almost like, you know what? If you want to foreshadow that, how about Easy Street? Doesn't that give you some of the shades of Easy Street, except it's up where we belong? So in one part, he's kind of getting a little psychological advantage of this man, and then later on, he did some psychological advantage with Daryl. Just to kind of, he learned how to play the game. He learned how to torture people. And he didn't know he had it in him. So I think that part about I see red means he just blanks out and he just does what he does. And I think most people would agree that there's a limit. And in the old world, he hit it perfectly. Negan has said, and let me kind of get to this, right? So if you miss this, and he told the story pretty quickly, so he beats the guy down. So his wife has to pay his medical bills because he loses his job at the school. So loud guy interrupts, wife says something, Negan beats him down, happens to have connections at the school, he gets fired, wife has to pay medical bills, they're in a bad situation, and because they're in a bad situation, marriage starts to unravel, he cheats on her, he's playing video games, he's lazy, he doesn't want to go to work, all of these things, and he's not there when she's diagnosed with cancer. It's like he just doesn't care until the guilt starts to hit him. So, yes, we did. Deadly Dimes, did y'all notice the half moon shirt? Explains Negan knowing who Beta was. Yeah, again, kind of an after the fact Easter egg. So, I liked it, Dimes. I didn't love it. I understand how they made the connection. I mean, it was cool, but I think it's one of those things that they threw in there at like the 12th hour to make it a little cooler than it was. Just my opinion. I loved it without that Easter egg and the whole Beta thing, but one thing I will say about, and I'm just nitpicking now because I give it a 9.3. I thought it's excellent, but sometimes when you got a great story, and tonight I thought was a great story, you don't need a Morales to show up out of the blue. You don't necessarily need a Beta connection to draw back to. I don't know. Maybe they thought they would need it, but it certainly had all the elements of a good episode. I'm going to open it up, take a couple questions here. So, once again, appreciate you guys being here. And look, I'm going to go straight Negan here. I'm not going to apologize. Look, the last couple weeks, I'm just being completely gloves off, transparent. There just wasn't a lot of stuff to talk about. I wanted to do live streams. I was set up, and as I saw the episode, I was like, you know what? I don't know what we're going to talk about. Last week it would have been making soup, and I'm not trying to hate on The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead. I'm #1 fan. I'm right up there with you guys. But tonight certainly was something worth talking about. Now, I'm not going to go into, and please, no spoilers for Fear, but I'm going to tell you, Fear is probably going to be the best season Fear's ever had. It's going to be good. So we are going to be here next Sunday night. Give everybody a chance that's not on AMC Premiere to watch the episode next week. So we are going to have a lot of fun with it. Tim, I will not say that I love Negan. So I'm going to disagree with you. And let me tell you guys this. I still don't love Negan. I love the Negan story because it's very, very real. So, yeah, we're not here to talk about Fear the Walking Dead. But the one thing that I will say is we will have a lot of stuff to talk about. And if you guys love reactions, if you guys love getting together and having content, see that's the thing. Like the first 5 episodes of The Walking Dead, there just wasn't a lot of content. It felt a lot of filler. And tonight felt like what we wanted, what we needed. Fear, I said this a couple weeks ago, that Fear has a lot of action. It's got a lot of activity, and we're going to get a little bit of closure. So we'll leave it at that, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to have a good time with Fear this season. Let me get back to Negan, though, and answer this question, because I'll never love Negan. I never did, but I understand him, and I understand the role of it. I always have. Even when, we did the lineup. I understand him having a group. I understand him trying to, borderline smart ass, prove a point to people. Got to stay in charge. Got to stay in power. Totally get it. And then I see the transition of Negan, of where overcompensation, building that bond with Judith, trying to get trust. And, that's the thing. I know a lot of people would say with Negan, like, oh, you can't trust him because, he's just trying to get to a point where he takes over again. If you guys remember, I was one of the first to say, no, that's not who he is. He is in transition. He's not trying to sneak in and take over Alexandria. He's trying to deal with a lot of demons. And sometimes you just got to be who you are. And I think for the story, he needs to be who he is. Yeah, Matt, I'm going to say the odds of that happening are probably less than 0. Says he'll ask Maggie to forgive him, and I don't think so. I think that bridge is like the bridge that Rick was on. I think that bridge has burned. I don't think there's any forgiveness in the future with Maggie. It doesn't make sense for her character to forgive him. And it doesn't make sense for Negan to be a wimp. Both things can happen. Maggie may coexist with him, but I don't think there's going to be any feel-good moments, because killing Glenn in front of his pregnant wife was still wrong. The way that he did it. But everybody has done something wrong in this world. There are no saints in The Walking Dead. Maggie's done some of that. Rick has done some of that. All of them have done some of that. So, I guess what I'm trying to explain here is that we don't need everybody to hug and forgive each other to have The Walking Dead. And in fact, I think there needs to be some boundaries. And not everybody needs to like each other, because it's like that in life. So if we're waiting around for everybody to just sit around a campfire and tell stories of their life, it's just not going to happen. Ron, I do think that Carol saw Negan needed something. When she looked out the window and she just saw, he's uncomfortable, he doesn't fit in, even when they're walking, he says, you kind of owe me that. Can you put in a good word for me? Can you do that? We're still seeing like pandering, kiss up, don't know where you fit in Negan. And I think Carol knew that. And Carol's like, if you're going to do it, you're just going to have to be who you're going to be and earn that respect. He can earn a newfound respect, but Maggie's never going to forgive him for what he did to Glenn. Nor should she. But again, let me ask you guys this question. So, was Negan's point about, and look, I'm not trying to stretch it too much, right? And I'm not saying it's a play on words. But I do find it a little bit cliche, because it is very cliche. When you do something wrong to someone and they're being sarcastic, what do they say? So sue me. So I just thought the choice of words there, when Negan said, like, in the past world, you can be sued. In this world, basically, like, there's no police, there's no lawyers, none of that happens. So let me kind of take it to a more psychological standpoint. Is that what's going on with Maggie? Is Negan basically throwing down the gauntlet and saying, so sue me? What happened has happened 7, 8, 9 years ago. You can walk around and hold a grudge for the rest of your life, but I have to live and you have to live, so deal with it. And I do think when he walked back into Alexandria, and perfect wording there, movie star, he's walking back in saying, deal with it. I killed your husband. I did it very violently. I was a different person, but I'm not going to wake up every day and look the other way when you look over here. I'm going to make eye contact with you, and you're going to see who I am, or you can see the old me. But Negan needs to be a smartass. He needs to make jokes. He needs to be inappropriate. That's who he is, not walk on eggshells. And I think we had a Negan who was walking on eggshells. Let me jump over to the super chat. We got Ecom said, I could see either Negan or Maggie soon having their hands full with the Commonwealth, and there would be a natural separation between the two. I agree. I could also see them both, Ecom, fighting for the people of Alexandria. Because Negan feels like this is his home. Maggie feels like it's her home. And it can be both of their homes. But sometimes the enemy that is right beside you with Maggie, if they are enemies, might be less of an enemy than what they're facing. We saw that with the Whisperers. We'll probably see it again with a couple more groups. The last time I think we saw Negan try to crack a joke was probably Father, Not the Father. And he was just so still untrusted that his sense of humor was not going to resonate. So it was just you're not funny. You're a killer. You're not funny. You're a killer. Well, now they can probably look at him and say, you're kind of funny. Or, what I'm looking for, this is when we know. When people start laughing at Negan's jokes, then we'll know he's got a little bit more support in Alexandria. We got Crazy L. I want Negan to be the character who's always unpredictable. Well, that smile, I think, said a lot. I think that it takes a lot to stroll back in Alexandria. Let me tell you that. Even when Carol's saying, like, she's going to kill you. I just didn't want you to die. I was looking out for you. Great stuff. Great stuff. And, I think we got the answer to our question. And I'm glad they answered it in the season finale, because I'm glad he was not left in that cabin. Because then we're going to go through the whole off season like, is it a spinoff? Is he gone? What's going on? He came back and he's like, I live here. Bring my stuff back. Carol, call the car. Let's get him back. Well, Michael, he does have some bonds. Let's think of the people who actually, I won't say support, but Negan saved Lydia's life. I mean, people in Alexandria, Gage and that little crew, they were going to kill Lydia. So Negan's already saved her. Negan killed Alpha. Judith looks up to Negan. Michonne trusted Daryl and Negan enough to leave and go look for Rick. That should tell you something right there. So, let me get to the problem that Maggie has. And it is a big problem. And I don't hate Maggie. I know some of you don't like her. And tonight's episode, when you get closer to Negan, it might create more of a rift. But I'm okay with Maggie. I don't have to love Maggie. I don't have to love Negan. But here's the problem that Maggie has. And I think Carol meant this very off the cuff, not seriously. When she said, Maggie's going to kill you, I think we already know. Maggie could have killed him. Maggie could have killed him in the jail cell. Maggie could have went back and killed him before she left. But let's all give Maggie a little bit of a pass, though. She didn't want to be associated with any community that was going to support him. Maggie had her opportunity to kill him. Michonne was going to let her kill him, and she didn't. So she decided, you know what? Let me just get away. And I'm fine with that. So then she came back, and she's probably like, I was expecting to see you in jail, but you're not. So you must have used you guys know. Now, Daryl, y'all let Negan out of that jail cell. Now, that was wrong. I mean, Maggie probably was a little shocked that he's just roaming the streets with no handcuffs. I get that. I understand it. But I think she also kind of expected it. So here's what Maggie's looking for. Maggie's not looking for an opportunity to kill Negan. She's looking to see if he sweet-talked his way out of those handcuffs or if he earned his way out of those handcuffs. Maggie's a smart leader. So she wants to see on her own, because Negan's got charisma. Was it his charm that got him loose, or was it his actions? And I think she's going to find out it was his actions. Again, overcompensation was needed because they brutally murdered Glenn. So they had to really, really spice it up a little bit. We got E. Beach. I worry about Negan getting the Dwight or Rick death from the comics. Eric, I don't think they kill him. I think for a couple reasons. One, he's got star power. So you don't keep letting your stars walk when you know, look, this is the highest rated Walking Dead episode from the last 6 episodes. So Eric, there is less than 0 chance that they kill him unless he wants to leave. If you got him wanting to do the show, you don't let him leave. You find an opportunity for him because he fills the seats. So it ain't the old days of Walking Dead where you can just kill people at will and you get somebody else to jump in there and people start watching. People watch tonight because of him. So he ain't dying. I will give you that as a super bold prediction. He ain't dying. They'll put him on another series. He'll get his own mini-series. He'll be in the movies, but he ain't dying. So, great stuff. And again, this is why I'm just going to go back to, there's so much to analyze with tonight's episode. There's really, I think it makes you feel better about Negan if you hated him before. A lot of you guys did not. But I think it at a minimum, it makes you understand him a little bit more. Because it just seemed like a very, very believable story. That's what kind of got me tonight, is I could see this happening. And it made him a real character. And, sitting there kind of confessing his sins in front of a fire, talking to his dead wife, and offering the bat as an offering. I mean, so much symbolism in tonight's episode. I mean, he's not talking to Father G at an altar. He's sitting in front of a fire and he's burning Lucille. So I think he just figured, you know what? It's just time that I get my swagger back. Now, I do also think it's important. This is super, super important. He didn't walk in there with Lucille over his shoulder. So he knows that he can be himself. He just can't antagonize and give Maggie any extra. But the ball's in her court. But yeah, I just don't see an apology coming. I mean, what's the point? What's the point now of saying you're sorry? I think Maggie knew he was sorry when she went to the jail cell to kill him. I think she knew he wanted to die. But really, really good episode. Hey, I could talk about this episode all night. It was phenomenal. We got a couple more minutes, so I do want to get a couple comments. I got Mika says, we cannot forget that Rick, Maggie, and company murdered all this. You know, I know, and I mean that's certainly Mika. It's an argument we've had before, and they snuck in, they murdered them in their sleep. I understand all of that. However, until tonight, and this is the importance of tonight. You know, I felt like, well, let me kind of open up to you guys and tell you what one of the biggest things that I got out of tonight. And maybe the writers of Walking Dead have their pulse on people like me and some of our viewers. So the problem that I always had was, you murdered somebody in your sleep, I get it. You're either Team Rick, you're Team Negan. If you're Team Negan, well, you did this, so we're doing this. And I understand both sides. But the argument that I always made is, you don't beat somebody's head down with a baseball bat and dance around and enjoy it. But you know what? You kind of do. Because when the world has made you into what you are, you do. But I also, you know what? I feel like there's more that we didn't see. Like, let me give you this scenario. What if Negan beat down Abraham and he's seeing red, right? Like he said tonight. And he just needs to prove the point. And somebody just does the wrong thing and it's like, all right, sorry, got to kill you. Got to make a joke while I'm killing you. I almost felt like after tonight, Negan probably went back to the sanctuary after he killed Glenn, washed the blood off his hands, probably cried like a baby, and then put on his Negan jacket the next day and went out to be Negan again. What tonight did for me is it showed me the complexity of his character of losing control, but at the same time having a little bit of sympathy and a little bit of empathy. And I know we never saw that, but I feel like after tonight, that's always kind of who he is and who he was. Public posturing and private remorse. But he could never get over the bloodlust. Like he always had to do it. But certainly a much, much deeper side of Negan that we saw. And getting that, you know, years and years backstory, you could see that kind of along the way. Like, I don't know if there was one moment where it clicked, but I will say Carl dying, killing Simon. Simon was like his right hand. Watching people betray him. But, you know, it's some dark, twisted stuff to put iron on somebody's face. I will say that. Of all the things he did, the iron in the face, throwing the doctor in the furnace, yeah, I mean, burning people alive, that might be a little too much bloodlust. But at least tonight, we got to see why, the how, and I think a good indication of who Negan is going to be going forward. All right, everybody, we are at 11:01. We're a little short of an hour. I know, it's like, movie star, I was close. It's like, I almost felt good about him, and then, again, the more I think about it, it's like, oh, man, he did sleep with Dwight's wife, and he made him, deal with it. He did burn people's faces. Yeah, I mean, Negan's complicated, man. He's complicated. But it certainly took a lot to get him to where he is right now. And even with Alpha, he wasn't there. So I think he's finally there. All right, everybody. Hey, it is a pleasure hanging out with you guys. I appreciate all of you guys showing up. Do me a favor. We haven't done this in a while. I do have I got about 60 seconds. So just show a little love for the 999 Army. Everybody, hit that like button. And after you hit the like button, give me a 999. I want to shout everybody's name who's here in tonight's video, just to show you guys how much we love The Walking Dead. I need one more thing from you guys, though. You have to be here next Sunday night, and I need you guys to watch Fear. Sometimes we're fans. Sometimes we're like, okay, it's Fear. I think the Fear season is going to be phenomenal, but I need all of you guys here talking about the show with me. All right? Deal? Everybody come back. If you're not sure about Fear, watch a couple episodes. Let's do it together. And if we don't like it, then we'll say we don't like it. If we do, then I think we've got some good stuff to talk about. And I'm not just talking about one episode. I feel like it's going to be pretty good. Let me get some of these shout-outs in here. I want to give a big shout-out to Samantha Combs. Thank you so much, Samantha Coombs. We got Donnie T. We got Michael Curie. Great to see you, Mike. Big Tree, what's up? Mika Dennis. Dustin Little. Ocean Man. AC. I see Ankh. Who else we got? Busy B. Nav Malcolm. Great to see you, Nav. Been a little while. Miss the Strategist. Thank you so much, Miss. Good to see you. Our moderators, Amy, Jules, Kel, the 3 lady mods. What incredible job that they do. I see Batmat. Thank you so much, Batmat. Marshall Moonshot, Diana C. Patrick Ivers. Good to see you. Kitten Smiles. Thank you so much, Kitten. Who else we got? I see Jim Stone, Father Ron, Deborah Cox. And not only Fear, we got to get a few of you guys playing Play Dead Live with us too. Northside Queen. So I'm going to throw that out there as a challenge too. After Fear, I want 1 or 2 of you guys hang out with us on a Friday night. E-Beach in the house. Lewis, get together. Let's do some RPG. Let's kill some zombies together. Let's do a little bit of PvP. You guys can hang out with us on Wednesday night, Friday night, anytime you want. It's a great group of people. It's a lot of people in this group right here. And we just like to hang out and play some video games too. Maisha Holmes, thank you so much. I see you. Appreciate you being here. Good to see you back. So our Walking Dead content is going to be right there with Fear the Walking Dead. And if you guys like a story and Play Dead Live, and it's not like, I don't want to scare you guys, it's not like Call of Duty. It's not like first-person shooter. It is turn-based RPG, and it gives you a chance to sort of go through and hang out with us. Deborah Cox, thank you. Nate D, good to see you. Isaac Lima. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate all you guys hitting the like button. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys Wednesday night for a little Play Dead Live tutorial, or Friday night to get involved in our story. If not, I will see you guys Sunday night after Fear. Have a good night, everybody.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Here's a little promo for you guys. You can see what we're going to do this Friday night.
When you